Welcome to linuxhint YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about best Linux distributions for programming. One of the reasons, many motivations for programmers to use a Linux operating system is that it is free and open source. Additionally, Linux is incredibly secure while antivirus programs for Linux do exist. Linux viruses are incredibly rare. Many Linux distributions benefit from regular updates too. And this thing, cutting-edge nature combined with stability makes the FOSS free open source software a great choice. But where Linux really shines for programming and development is its compatibility with virtually any programming language. You will appreciate access to the Linux command line, which is superior to the Windows command line. And there are lots of Linux programming apps such as Sublime Text, Bluefish, and KDevelop. If you want to learn new things and technologies such as website development, blockchain, game development, and machine learning, Linux distributions will work as the best way to learn these technologies. So, let's talk about the best Linux distributions for programming. One of the best Linux distribution is Ubuntu. Although it is not the oldest or only Linux distribution available, Ubuntu ranks among the most popular Linux operating system you can install. With an insanely large user base, Ubuntu is incredibly well documented. There are tons of support options from official forums to third-party communities. There's a reason Ubuntu derivatives like Lubuntu and Xubuntu exist. Ubuntu simply works. It is easy to get started with development in Ubuntu. Its own software center has a lot of free applications that make it a great Linux operating system for programming. Its LTS version remains supported for 5 years and provides the stability of a fixed release. Now if we talk about the pros and cons of Ubuntu, then this Linux distribution is a lightweight operating system for the server context. The development team of Ubuntu provides regular updates and the community support is fantastic. About cons, Ubuntu's image file is a little larger. Ubuntu's desktop user interface is not that great and it does not have a minimal distribution. The next distribution we will talk about is OpenSUSE. While OpenSUSE does not often experience the same recognition as Ubuntu and Fedora, the project produces a wonderful environment for developers. The OpenSUSE project offers two distributions, OpenSUSE Leap and OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. Whereas OpenSUSE Leap is an LTS release that remains pretty up to date and guarantees stability, while Tumbleweed is a rolling release for those who love the taste of the latest software. If you want to try the latest bleeding edge hardware support, Tumbleweed is the way to go. Now if we talk about the pros and cons, let's discuss pros first. OpenSUSE is reliable. It offers incredible built-in drivers. It is stable and you can install it with one click. It has the best KDE desktop experience. If you talk about cons, the startup of OpenSUSE takes a little bit more time and the permission policy of this Linux distribution is complex. The next distribution in my list is Manjaro. Manjaro, an art-based Linux operating distribution, aims to support various environments and a graphical installer to fulfill your requirements. Manjaro takes out the worry of installing and administering an Arch-based system by including a solid set of custom tools and utilities. The distribution is available in multi-editions GNOME, KDE, and XFCE. So you don't miss out on your favorite desktop environment. Now the pros of installing Manjaro are, Manjaro is based on Arch Linux. This Linux distribution supports multiple kernels. Manjaro has a good community forum. It is an up-to-date and stable Linux distribution. There is a great graphical package manager on it. Now look at the cons of installing Manjaro. Manjaro's installation is a little buggy. Manjaro has a slower developer for 32-bit hardware. This Linux distribution is a bit bloated and it has an improper dependency. The next distribution I'm going to talk about is Fedora. Fedora is a favorite operating system among programmers because of its stability, up-to-date feature set, and awesome developer portal. Fedora is a neat alternative to Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Moreover, Fedora includes a multi-language IDE in Eclipse which can be used for likes of PHP, Java, C and C++. Fedora's auto updates and configuration make it an ideal operating system for developers. Also, its community is very responsive and friendly. If you face any problem during development on Fedora, you can ask it on Fedora's forum and people will guide you in a better way to resolve the problem. Now, look at the pros of Fedora. Fedora offers fast performance. It has an amazing integration with the Snap package and Flatpak. It delivers regular updates to stay up to date. And now, if we talk about the cons, then it does not support proprietary drivers. It is not best for the new Linux users. Many people report that it is a bit slower. The next very awesome distribution is Pop! OS. Pop! OS is a programmer and developer-friendly Linux distribution. Based on Ubuntu, Pop! OS is an excellent contemporary implementation seen as practical and functional. System 76 calls Pop! OS an operating system for developers, makers, and computer science professionals who use their machines to create new things. It supports tons of programming languages and programming tools natively. To make your workflow more productive, Pop! OS gives programmers a unique power with a keyboard-driven tiling window manager. Advanced window management, shortcuts, and workspaces enhance the user experience. Thus, if you are looking for a Linux distribution for programming, Pop! OS is the way to go. It has a separate NVIDIA version. It has a default GNOME theme. It is well optimized for the new hardware, and Pop! OS has a good installer. About cons, it supports 64 bits only. There is no minimize or maximize option by default. The next distribution I'm going to talk about is Kali Linux. It comes loaded with tons of pre-installed tools. However, let me clarify that it's not designed for people who are new to Linux. However, you will be fine using it if you have tried Linux and programming. Kali Linux also helps you gain knowledge that will surely help you excel in your career. Similar to other distributions, it gives the user complete control over its configuration, making it suitable for developers. Now, if we talk about the pros of Kali Linux, then this Linux distribution supports different languages. You can locate the binaries quickly. This Linux distribution is an open source tool, so you can easily access it. And if we talk about cons, then this Linux distribution can make the system a bit slower. Kali Linux can corrupt the system. In some cases, the software creates issues. Now, let's talk about another best distribution, which is Debian. It is one of the most important distributions because many other distributions are based on its stable branch. It is highly recommended for advanced programmer and system administrator. Please note that if you are a beginner Linux user and want to learn the basic coding manners, then Debian is not the perfect programming operating system for you. For that, you need to look for beginner-friendly Linux distribution such as Ubuntu, linuxhint, or Zorin operating system. Packages and repositories are carefully selected and tested for inclusion in the stable build, making the operating system suitable for developers. Moreover, the official forum houses boundless manuals, chapters on programming languages taking you through the basics of creating a script, compiling it, and many more. Debian has one of the largest repositories of open source software. Hence, you won't face trouble finding your favorite programming tools and libraries. Look at the pros of Debian. Debian has a complete installer. The Linux distribution has various hardware architecture. This Linux distribution provided good transitions in technologies. Debian has various installed packages. About cons, this Linux distribution uses systemd. There are no regular updates in Debian. Debian can only download free softwares. Another important distribution is Raspbian. Earlier known as Raspbian, Raspberry Pi operating system is a feature-packed Linux distribution intended to work hand-in-hand with the pocket-sized computer, which has rapidly grown in popularity. This Pi is capable of running a bunch of Linux operating systems including Debian, Ubuntu, CentOS, and even Kali Linux. But Raspbian is a superb choice. There is support for many programming resources and languages such as Python, Mathematica, Greenfoot, and BlueJ. With its lovely pixel desktop environment, Raspbian runs like a champ on the ultra-popular SBC. Programming on a Raspberry Pi means you can use a small, energy-efficient desktop PC. If you are a beginner programmer and you are wondering from which Linux operating system should you start, stop thinking and use Raspbian. Now look at the pros of the Raspbian. It is good for students or learners and it is too easy to use. About cons, there are bit limitations in this software. It is a bit slower. Choosing the best Linux distribution for programming may seem a challenge, but checking reviews give you a deeper understanding of which distribution is perfect for your programming needs. Which among the distributions we have discussed you think is best? Do you need any help choosing the right one for you? Tell us what you think or reach out to us in the comments below. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed yet our channel, then please do so by clicking on the subscribe button. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.